The Syndicate Audio House presents The Oprah Winfrey Secret, Oprah Secret to Making Millions by Douglas Derrick Lattimore. I dedicate this non-fictional short to my daughter, Cheyenne Wallace Lattimore, a mogul in her own right. Author's note. Hey, this is Doug Derrick. Listen, you guys, I just wanted to kind of talk to you. You know, I'm talking to you right now. This is not scripted. This is a heart-to-heart. I'm talking to you because people have mystified this secret so much, and it's not even all that. You don't have to become a Buddhist to understand these truths. You don't have to, be all Zen-like and practice Taoism and all that different kind of stuff and all that Eastern philosophy. If you believe in Jesus Christ, all these laws, all of this stuff about energy and all the stuff that we're going to talk about, you'll see it in the Bible. And I use Oprah because there's hardly anybody in the world who doesn't know who Oprah is. And so because what she's done has permeated different cultures and societies across countries and generations, she was the perfect example for me to use as an example of how this secret that I'm going to share with you really works. So listen, I want you to enjoy it. I know it's short. Listen, it's short, but it means a lot. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to reflect on it. I want you to listen over it again. Listen to it over and over and over and over again until it takes root in your spirit. Thank you for listening. Sincerely, Douglas Derrick Lattimore. Preface.
All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
The frantic excitement filled the room, and the electrifying charisma of Oprah filled the air. And on that day, in the stillness of time, indeed, everybody received a brand new, fully loaded Pontiac G6. People from around the world watched with envy and secretly, if not openly, wished that they themselves were the ones in attendance on the Oprah Show that day. Oprah said later on TV Guide's magazine show entitled The Top 25 Oprah Show Moments, she said, "We've given away televisions and refrigerators and pajamas and free trips." And the very idea of giving away a whole car to somebody, I just think that that's one of the most incredible moments ever. In 2004, the Oprah Show started with a stunt to throw the audience off the scent as Oprah called 11 unsuspecting people up to the stage. She began by saying, "I just want to tell y'all right now, we've been lying to you. I admit now, on this stage, you are really here because you all share a common wildest dream. Every single one of you desperately needs a brand new car." At this moment, Oprah's stage crew begins rolling out the brand new Pontiac G6s adorned with big red gift wrap bows on the car. Euphoria sets in and begins to overwhelm the participants on the stage. Simultaneously, the audience, not on the stage, but in their seats, begin to go crazy with excitement for the participants that were on the stage. After the keys were delivered to each participant, the energy dies down and the audience thinks it's over, but Oprah is just getting started. She says, "You just saw 11 viewers score their wildest dreams. Each one of them is an owner of a brand new Pontiac G6. And that was really exciting. I thought that was cool." And the audience erupts with an applaud. "Okay," she says, as she seems to always do in order to segue. She says, okay, but I got a little twist. She began to start again, end quote, because as you saw, there's 11 of them, and I said there were 11 cars outside, but really I have one car left. She says this previous statement with a very mischievous smirk on her face, as if she's up to something, which she is. I have one car left, she says. After this statement, the audience members spontaneously begin to raise their hands and applaud, as if to say, pick me, pick me. All the while, the once dead euphoria of excitement begins to rebuild. Hold on. Someone in the audience still has a chance to go home with this brand new, fully loaded Pontiac G6. They begin to applaud louder. G6, G6, she repeats. Right now, everyone in the audience, who is now listening very carefully, is being given a special package. And I don't want you to open it, she says. Do not shake it. Do not open it. Do not open, she says again with an elevated tone. Take the box and hold it in your lap and do not open it. Now, here's the deal. Listen carefully. Inside of one of these boxes is a key. Do not open it yet. If your box has a key, you will be the last person today to get one of these cute little G6s. Okay? Who will it be? At this point, the once dead euphoria has now matched the energy level it previously was just before the first group received their cars. Are you ready? She says. JR is back in our audio booth. You know what, JR? This calls for a drum roll, she says. Cue the drum roll. All right, open your boxes. 1, 2. All you hear is screams. 3. The crowd erupts in an orgasmic roar of gratitude. One lady stands up with a look of glee, mouthing, "Shut up, shut up." Another lady starts dangling keys and starts dancing like Mr. Bojangles, screaming and dancing and screaming. And all of a sudden, the jazzy techno beat music starts playing in the background, and then it happens. Oprah utters the most prolific and iconic words in her television show. You get a car. You get a car. Then she starts pointing at everybody. You get a car. Her voice starts cracking and breaking. You get a car. You get a car. Everybody gets a car. Everybody gets a car. Oprah said later, the reason why I was screaming the words was because the other people were screaming so loudly, I thought they didn't understand or wouldn't understand what just happened and what I was saying. On stage, Oprah held her chest as if she herself won a car and continued by saying, "Oh my goodness," jumping up and down with her hair bouncing and poetically accentuating the figurative quotations around the words of "everybody gets a car." The viewing audience and attendants are now hugging one another. At this moment, there are no divisions between them. White women screaming, black women screaming, and even men are screaming. You'll see black people hugging white people hugging black people, crying and sobbing on one another as they embrace each other. They share together the joy of this moment in history. Oprah, excited for them as always, opens her mouth, opens her arms out to the heavens, and lets out this wild and exciting yelp. Woo! She screams. Is that the wildest? As people shake their heads in unbelief, she says again, is that the wildest? Oprah said later, what is just thrilling about that moment is that you can see the wave of understanding hitting each person. I remember the black women in the audience mouthing, "What? Are you kidding me?" And she looked at her friend and she saw that her friend also had one. And it's like, "What? You have one too? But I have one too." So people at first didn't even understand what the price was, what the joke was, what the fun of it was. And so that's why I was doing that. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Everybody gets a car. That's why I did that. Sadly, this is where the story ends. But coincidentally, this is where the moral begins. In this moment, and if we look closely, Oprah reveals her secret in a way she's never really done before. In this book, I will reveal to you what her secret is, how it works, and how you can get it to work for you, especially if you want to make millions one day. I'm not going to drag it all out. I'm not going to make you pay $20 for a long drawn out book for one good concept, because truly this book only has one good concept. I'm going to share with you her secret, not secrets, the one secret. And you'll be able to get it and hopefully consume it in less than an hour. I hope you enjoy it. Sincerely, Douglas Derek Lattimore. If you like this book, please go on Amazon, give me a 5-star review. That would be great. Introduction. The Oprah Winfrey Success Story. Oprah Winfrey was born on January 29th, 1954 in Mississippi. She was enrolled at Tennessee State University in 1971. Her initial job included reading the news, among other things, and this began her momentous starting point in the media world. Soon after joining the radio station, she received her opportunity to enter television as the first African-American correspondent on TV. She was also the youngest person to co-anchor the news for WTVF television station affiliated with CBS. In 1976, she moved from Tennessee to Baltimore, Maryland. This is where she would later host the popular television show appropriately named People Are Talking. After 1 year, she relocated to Chicago to host her own morning talk show adequately named The Oprah Winfrey Show, which previously was known as AM Chicago. The next step of her journey segued into the film industry, which she did in 1985 as an actor in the film The Color Purple. This film led Oprah to her nomination for the Academy Award of Best Supporting Role. The next year, she launched her TV show to over 100 channels across the country, making her TV show a national program and simultaneously making Oprah a household name. Her successful career is full of a diverse plethora of struggle, depression, uncertainty, and finally success, even now as her very name will live throughout history. Oprah is also a thriving philanthropist. Being a victim of child abuse herself, she advocated for this demographic in a tremendous way. So much, in fact, that in 1994, President William Jefferson, or Bill Clinton, passed the Oprah Bill to create a national database identifying child abusers. In 1998, Oprah received her 7th Emmy Award for her talk show, which happened to tally 9 awards for her talk show at that time. This level of success did not stop there. She has a record of winning 45 Emmys in her lifetime. She has been named among the top 100 most influential people of the 20th century. Clearing all other obstacles and barriers, Oprah co-founded Oxygen Media with her business partners, and in the year 2000, she launched her own magazine. The Oprah magazine is known to be among the best-selling magazine of our time. She also created a book club appropriately named the Oprah Book Club, which is one of the largest book clubs worldwide. Because of this, she has also received the American Publishers Award. She was a staunch advocate for Barack Obama's presidency in 2008 and participated in many of his campaigns toward his election. Her famous show, The Oprah Show, ended after the 25th season, and not because she had to call it quits either. Her success has not ended there, of course. She launched her own television network, adequately named the Oprah Winfrey Network, or better known as OWN. However, September 13, 2004, Oprah astonished the world by giving her television audience all new, fully loaded Pontiac G6 sedans valuing over $28,000 per capita. She gave away a total of 276 cars to an excited crowd, a gift tallying up to over $7 million in one sitting. All of these accomplishments were the result of her secret, a secret that will now be yours. Are you ready to find out what it is? Chapter 1, Oprah's Secret. Oprah's Secret. Oprah knows how to control and use not only her energy, but also the energy around her. When it comes to understanding energy as a concept, the people who have taught it over the recent years have overcomplicated it and have added all kinds of mysticism to it. The fact of the matter is that this concept in and of itself isn't all that deep. The concept of energy isn't some kind of abstract enigma as some suppose, and energy in and of itself isn't all that spiritually spooky, if you know what I mean. People all around the world have created this ambiguous concept of the, in quotes, universe, which has turned the science of energy into its own form of religious dogma. But I declare to you today, no form of astronomy can take credit for what God has created. To understand energy in another viewpoint besides the boring chemistry class or the spooky yoga class, you really only need to understand two things pertaining to it. The first thing you need to understand about energy is that energy has two forms. It can either be potential, which is dormant, or kinetic, which is active. These two forms of energy are dichotomous in nature. You're going to experience these two forms of energy in either two ways. You're either going to see energy doing nothing, which is potential energy, or you're going to see energy doing something, which is kinetic energy. The second thing to understand about energy is that energy can neither be created nor destroyed by man. Energy is always present and it will always be present, no matter what the form, whether it be dormant or active. The only thing that man can do in reference to energy is transform or convert it from one formation to another. For example, water, H2O, in and of itself is indeed energy. When the earth gets hot, it tends to rain. When the rain evaporates, the evaporation will form clouds. The energy, or the atoms and molecules of the water, never ceased to exist completely. It just transformed from a liquid to a gas, back to a liquid whenever it rained again. Here's another example. A man goes to work and makes some money, and he uses his money to purchase a phone. The energy that he used to get his work done has now been converted into money when he gets paid. The money in his wallet is now a physical manifestation of the invisible energy he used to get his work done. When he used his money to buy a phone, he was able to transform his work energy into material possession, i.e. a phone, which is now embodied by his purchase or purchase. The root word chase, or to run after or to pursue, denotes that making a purchase is full of activity or full of kinetic energy. Chase, to run after. Purchase, purchase, purchase. There's activity there. There's energy there, flowing energy, moving energy. Remember, this is an example of how energy works. And as you can see, even our words have an energetic connotation to them. And that's why affirmations and speaking positively motivates, because the energy that's attached to those words are actually real, very real. Now back to the example. The energy from the sweat equity was converted into money, which was converted again into a phone. Notice that the man never created the energy. He only used the potential energy already dormant on the inside of his body, which enabled him to get the work done. Once he activated his internal kinetic energy to complete his work energy by nature turned into, for the lack of a better phrase, money energy. What we also call currency, a derivative of the word current, which denotes and is defined by other moving energies such as air and water. All three entities, air, water, and money, all have flow, a movement, a kinesis, or a current. If water stops flowing, it becomes stagnant and dead and toxic and poisonous, killing the environment around it. When money stops flowing, businesses die, banks stop lending, and the economic crash is on the horizon. Do you see the similarities? When the man found a phone that he liked, his money energy became activated or kinetic during the purchase of his phone. This energy once again changed and transformed from the original state of the work energy into the material possession, as we have previously mentioned. Everything around us, seen and unseen, has its own properties of energy, personified by the value placed on it by us and others around us. Potential energy in any certain environment can transform into kinetic energy. When potential energy gets kinetic, you can expect to see life, movement, and animation to be the result of its transformation. Food is energy for the body. Gas is energy for the car. Wood is energy for the fire. Sunlight is energy. Also air, water, coal, oil, and anything else that can be used to cause a movement or can give life to something. Anything of this nature can be considered a form of kinetic energy. Another important thing about energy to consider is this. Energy can either be positively or negatively charged. If we don't respect the power of what it can do within us, through us, and around us, we can be destroyed by our own ignorance. And for this matter, our very own thoughts should be considered as energy as well. Our thoughts can either energize or suppress our actions. Our thoughts can make us either dormant or active. That's why you have to protect yourself by how you think and what you say. You also have to protect yourself from what you hear and what you see as well. This environment we call Earth is full of negatively and positively charged influences. This truth is the main reason why you have to be very selective in whom you hang around and who you call a friend. This concept is congruent for the same reason we quote the old adage, birds of a feather flock together. They flock together not only because they look the same, but also because their energies match on many different levels, down to the nature of the very beings. And I'm just going to go off on a tangent here in the audiobook because the birds have the same nature. And the people that you hang around, they hang around you because both of your natures are the same. Because you resemble each other's natures. You're a bird, they're a bird. You're the same kind of bird. And because you're the same kind of bird, you hang together. You look like each other because of your nature. Your nature speaks to your DNA, how you're coded, how your brain works. And because your brain works like theirs, because your DNA works like theirs, because you fit in the class of the people you hang around, your nature is the same. That's why you're together. All right, back to the book. These proverbial birds tend to value the same things and think the same way. In fact, statistics say you are most likely defined by the 5 people you hang around with the most. If you hang around with the unsuccessful, you will most likely be unsuccessful yourself. If you hang around the successful, you will most likely be successful yourself. Now, success in and of itself is obviously relative, but you have to understand that energy means a lot when determining what success means to you. Oprah knew exactly what she was doing when she gave away a car. She spent years upon countless years perfecting her understanding of what energy is and how to wield it. If you want to make millions of dollars like Oprah, even billions, you must first master your understanding of what energy is, how it affects you, and how it affects others around you. I'm sure she wouldn't disagree with me. This is indeed her secret. Chapter 2, How It Works. Understanding the flow of energy is essential to success. The flow of energy is embodied by the oldest law in the book, the law of reciprocity. Some call it karma, some call it the law of flow, others call it the law of sowing and reaping, or the golden rule. But it's really all the same thing. So the wisest man on the face of the earth said, "Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets." Matthew 7:12. To give you a visual, this is how it works. A man has a seed and plants the seed into the ground. The ground receives the seed and gives the seed back to the man, which was the result of what was sown. The amazing thing is, the result of what came out of the ground is different than what first went into the ground. Now, based on what we've learned in chapter 1, we know that the seed is energy. And once the energy is planted into the system of reciprocity, it produces after its own kind, meaning you get back what you put in. At the end of the cycle, the planter reaped the harvest. Now, based off of what we learned in chapter 1, we know that the seed is the embodiment of potential energy. It's sitting there by itself, dormant, not doing anything. But once that seed is planted in the system of reciprocity, which is the ground, it's going to produce after its own kind, and you're going to get back from it. In its simplicity, what goes in must come out. If love goes in, something loving will come out. If hate goes in, something you'll hate will definitely come out. If positivity goes in, positivity will come out. If negativity goes in, negativity will come out. Now take this concept and internalize it. If the ground of your mind receives a positive thought, the positivity in that energy will produce a positive movement or kinetic movement or kinesis, and it's going to produce a positive result in your life. If the ground of your mind receives a negative thought, the negative energy in that thought is going to produce kinesis and will also likewise produce negative results in your life. People have to guard their minds diligently against negativity, or the weeds of negative results will start popping up in the garden of your mind, of which you never really knew was planted. Let me say it in a different way. If you don't diligently guard your mind against negativity, things will be planted in your mind that you didn't even know was planted. Cues and subliminal messages from your environment will be planted. That energy will be planted into your mind. And if you don't guard your heart against that negativity, what's going to happen is you'll start seeing these weeds start popping up out of the gardens of your mind, out of the gardens of your life, out of the gardens of your finances, out of the gardens of your emotions, out of the gardens of your relationships. Things will just start popping up. It's because that energy went in and you didn't stop it before it went through the system of reciprocity. If positive or negative inputs become habitual, you'll receive or you'll experience a phenomenon I like to call polarization. Now, polarization is a big word that is used to convey the result of magnetism. Some call it the law of attraction. The law of attraction has nothing to do with some unknown almighty power of the universe, a higher power in mysticism. No, God created this law according to his own will. If your positivity polarizes or gets magnetic in your spirit, you will reap positivity. And if negativity polarizes or gets magnetic in your spirit, you will reap negativity. Polarization has a magnetic effect in reference to what you attract in your life. And you will begin to pull or attract or the charge negatively or positively of how your spirit is polarized will begin to pull things into your life. When you realize the nature of your charge is negative, you can definitely reverse the effects of that charge. You do not have to stay in a polarized or negatively polarized state for very long, especially if you're willing to change your charge. Reversing your negative polarization doesn't happen immediately though, but the more you put positive inputs into your system of reciprocity, you'll begin to slowly and even stop your negative polarization. Like some people, they get stuck in a rut, and everything, when it rains, it pours. When one thing happens, it seems like the next thing happens, seems like the next thing happens, and all these things are happening. And it just seems like when they get around you, stuff bad starts happening to you. And they call these people cursed. But what's really happening is that they are so negatively polarized that everything is hitting them. All their negativity is hitting them. And if you're close to them, the negativity is going to start hitting you. And you're going to have to separate yourself from them in order to clear your atmosphere and clear and guard the garden of your mind so that none of that negativity will be planted into your garden. When your cycle of negativity does finally stop and you lose your negative charge, your habitual inputs of positivity will cause your reciprocity cycle to build up speed in the opposite way toward a positive polarization. Your mission, if you choose to accept, is to maintain a positive polarization for as long as you can. People who can maintain a positive polarization for for long periods of time are the ones that we perceive as blessed, favored, lucky, and fortunate. People who maintain a positive polarization attract positive people and things in their lives, and also repel people who seem to be satisfied in their opposing negative states. The last thing I want you to know about polarization is this. Positive polarization adds to your life, and negative polarization subtracts from your life. The more you stay in a positive flow, the more you will have positive things added to your life, seemingly out of nowhere. The more you stay in a negative flow, the more you will see things subtracted from your life. And when it comes to money, a negative polarization will make you feel like you have holes in your pocket. You will always find yourself saying things like, if it ain't one thing, it's another. When it rains, it pours. And can I catch a break? Chapter 3, how to get it to work for you. The fastest way to attract the power of positive polarization for your benefit is to become a giver. Have you ever heard the old adage, it's better to give than to receive? It sounds corny, but part of it is true. And let me show you why. Here's an example. A pot of water is on the stove, and you turn on the heat, and you turn it on high. The heat energy transfers to the pot, and the metal transfers that same energy to the water. The water starts to boil, and the energy of the water changes from a liquid to a gas we call vapor. Everyone knows this, right? But look closer. Just before the water truly starts to boil, the secret of giving reveals itself. If you look into the pot, just before the water gets hot enough to boil, you'll see little bubbles stuck to the bottom of the pot. If you look a little closer, the bubbles are doing something. What are they doing? Look closer in the imagination of your mind. The bubbles are moving, aren't they? The bubbles stuck to the bottom of the pot are indeed shaking and vibrating. Don't believe me? Go in your kitchen and treat this like a science experiment. Just before the water reaches a boil, the shaking and the vibrating of the bubbles denotes that they are moving rapidly. When the water reaches the boiling point, the vibrating bubbles get unstuck from the bottom of the pot and rise to the top. This reveals the secret of kinetic energy and how it relates to success. Kinetic energy moves, and truly that movement begins to make miraculous things happen. Giving out of the kindness of your heart, similar to how the stove gives heat to the pot, is one of the most, if not the best way, to get positive energy flowing and working in your favor. The thought energy that creates in you a giving spirit also created a chain reaction of kinetic movement, similar to the heat creating movement in the water, causing the vibrations of the bubbles. One single solitary thought of giving creates movement if acted upon, and the energy of this movement will be later converted or transformed into a gift of some sort. The reception of this gift will reciprocate more positive thoughts and feelings toward the giver, manifested by the recipient's expressions of gratitude. Positive energy sent out by the giver will come right back to the sower in the time of harvest, almost similarly to how the ground will give back to the sower plenty in the time of reaping. One mistake 21st century sowers tend to commonly make, mainly because most of us aren't agricultural people, is thinking that the harvest will look like the seed that was planted. But that's ridiculous, right? Just because you've sown seeds in money form doesn't mean that you'll receive a harvest in the same form. Some people think, I sold money, I should get back my money with interest. But that's faulty thinking. If what was sown was money, and the money was positively, not grudgingly sown, but positively sown, then the money took the form of a seed. The sower will indeed reap a harvest, but the harvest might not return to them resembling the form in which it was first sown. I'm in no wise saying that this is always the case. If you sow some money, you just might get back some money. But what I don't want you to do is expect a harvest that looks like the seed. It will come back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Pressed down. You didn't get it pressed down, shaken together. You didn't get it shaken together, running over. You didn't get it running over, but it's in a different form. It will come back to you pressed down. It will come back to you shaken together. It will come back to you running over. Here's the conclusion. So if this is the key to creating millions, why isn't everybody a millionaire? Everyone gives at one point or another, right? Herein lies another secret. The last secret I will share with you is the secret of time. It's true, everyone gives, but not everyone is a millionaire. The reason why, however, is simple. Everyone doesn't focus their giving long enough for their bubbles. Remember the stuck bubbles at the bottom of the pot? It takes time for those stuck bubbles to rise to the top. In other words, the reason people are stuck at the bottom of life is because they're too stingy to stay with the heat. Their pot is not connected to the stove all the time. In other words, people don't focus their giving to one thing and for long enough to induce a transfer or a conversion of that positive seed energy. It takes time for seeds to germinate and to manifest. It takes even longer for the sower to be able to enjoy what they planted. Time plays a major factor in how long it takes for reciprocity to catch up to the giver. That's why the giver has to keep their reciprocity pipeline full of positive energy. If they do this one thing, they will always be in position to enjoy a year-round harvest. The lesson to give here is this: give long enough in a focused manner with positivity in order to reap a harvest consistently. Peter came to Jesus asking him this: how many times should I forgive for a sin against me? 7 times? Jesus said, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. In other words, make your giving unlimited. If you're in business, find something you can give to your clients or customers besides a bill or an invoice. Your gift will make room for you. That's what the Bible says. If you are on the verge of a divorce, but you want to keep your spouse, if they're worth keeping, find something that you can give them and minister it to them. Your gift will make room for you. If you want to make millions, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Give today, tomorrow, and forever. Never shut up your bowels of compassion. As you give, you make space for new things to fill the emptiness you just created. You'll give to somebody, and by you giving whatever you gave to somebody, now you're empty. But that is going to come right back to you. That space is going to be filled. Your emptiness will be filled. People hold on to things because they don't want to be empty. But the law of reciprocity lets us know that whatever space you have to receive, it is going to put something there. But if you don't have any space to receive, you won't get anything in return. So you have to give away things so that you'll be able to get things, and this system of flow will live in your life. As you give, you make space for new things to fill the emptiness you just created. Giving creates more capacity for receiving. And because of this, it only makes sense to give till it hurts. The last thing I want you to know is this: never allow receiving to be your main reason for giving. You'll end up contaminating the flow of your energy. It'll be negatively charged if that's all you want to do is receive. You'll end up contaminating the flow of energy and messing up the consistency of the result. So give to give, love to love, share to share, and watch the blessings flow your way. Oprah has been a giver all her life. She definitely knows how to control and utilize that energy. This story and many more like it are much the same. But I definitely felt like Oprah was the perfect case study in order to reveal this secret to you. Remember, potential energy is only useful when it's activated. People go around talking about nobody sees my potential. The reason nobody sees your potential is because it's not activated. It's dormant in you. If you did activate it a little bit, you only activated it long enough to get frustrated to the point where you felt like nobody was seeing your potential. Then you shut down. No. If you want somebody to see your potential, then you have to get kinetic. You gotta do something every day until finally somebody notices, because they will if your potential is done in excellence. You know the adage, knowledge is power? You know it's not necessarily true. Knowledge isn't power. Knowledge is potential power. Acting on what you've learned and creating movement is where the true power lies. You'll find millions of dreamers, but very few doers. When your knowledge energy gets kinetic, because that's all knowledge is potential energy, you just know. A lot of people know, but they can't do. But when your knowledge energy gets kinetic, you'll start making millions from what you know, what you do, and your gifts, and your value to the world. Not only does your knowledge have to get kinetic, but it also has to stay kinetic long enough, denoting frequency for something to catch fire. Every day, self-made millionaires apply their knowledge long enough to enable their money-making abilities to catch fire. So focus. Focus. F-O-C-U-S. F, follow. O, one. C, course. U, until. S, success. Focus. Follow one course until success, and you will truly succeed. Focus on polarizing your positive flow any way you can. Contribute to anything you can with a charitable spirit, and the sky's the limit. If you agree, you may begin today.
We've given away televisions and refrigerators and pajamas and free trips and just the very idea of giving away a whole car to somebody. I just think that's just one of the most incredible moments ever.
The show started with a stunt designed to throw the audience off the scent, as Oprah called 11 unsuspecting people up on stage.
Randy and Becky Thomas, where are you? It's about teachers. You know I love teachers, okay? Okay. There they all are. Now, I just want to tell y'all right now, we've been lying to you. I admit right here now on this stage, you're really here because you all share a wildest dream. Every single one of you desperately needs a brand new car! Pull it in, boys!
The audience thinks it's over, but Oprah's just getting started.
You just saw 11 viewers score their wildest dream. Each one of them is the proud new owner of a brand new Pontiac G6. That was really exciting. I thought that was cool. Okay, but I got a little twist. Because as you saw, there's 11 of them, and I said that there were 11 cars outside, but really I have one car left. I have one car left. Hold on. And someone in this audience still has the chance to go home with a brand new, fully loaded Pontiac G6. G6. Okay, right now, everybody in the audience, now listen to me carefully, is being given a special package, and I don't want you to open it. Do not shake it, do not open. Take the box and hold it in your lap. Do not open. And now here's the deal. Listen carefully. Inside one of these boxes is a key. Do not open it yet. If your box has a key, you will be the last person today to get one of those cute little G6s, okay? Who will it be? Are you ready? Hold on. Are you ready? JR is back in our audio booth. JR, this calls for a drum roll. Cue the drum roll. All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3. You get a car! You get a car! You get a car! You get a car! Everybody gets a car! Everybody gets a car! Everybody gets a car! The reason why I was screaming the words is because other people were screaming so loudly. I thought they didn't understand or wouldn't understand what had just happened and what I was saying. Oh, my goodness! Everybody gets a what is just thrilling about that moment is you can see the wave of understanding hitting each person. Because at first, one woman holds up the keys. I remember the black woman in the audience goes, "What, are you kidding me?" is what she mouthed. And then she turned to look at her friend and she sees she has one, and it's like, what? Well, you have one, but I have one too. So people at first didn't even understand what the prize was. I mean, what the joke was, what the fun of it was. And so that's why I was doing that. You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. Everybody gets a car. That's why I did that.